Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome, y'all, to New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, joined in studio by clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton and licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call for the next 2 hours. And we can talk about anything. No topic is off the table. Well, except no, we can even talk about that too. Whether it's perfectionism leading into the holidays or perfectionism's distant cousin, procrastination, call in. Sir Marc, what is on your mind to start us off today?
Yeah, today I want to talk about coping with grief. Now, you might only think about grief in terms of someone dying. I know a lot of people do, but grief occurs anytime we have loss. And so that could be loss of a job, could be loss of a bodily function, like if you're going on dialysis, could loss of a relationship or loss of trust. And I work with many couples after a betrayal, and understanding the stages of grief is key to help them navigate that emotional roller coaster that they go through. Now, most people expect sadness and anger, but bargaining and denial, those are also common stages of grief. So denial looks like not addressing the problem or pretending it's not as bad as it is. And bargaining is getting stuck on the what ifs. And then hoping for a quick or fix or a reversal of what's happened. Now, even Jesus went through a bargaining stage in the Garden of Gethsemane. He asked for the cup of suffering to be taken away from him. But what he needed most in this moment of mental suffering was presence. He asked his disciples to stay awake with him, especially his three closest friends, Peter, James, and John. And when they couldn't do that, an angel came down and actually strengthened him. Now, I remember when I went through the loss of my marriage. This is about 20 years ago, and I had two best friends in college, but we lived a few states away. Now, naturally, I wanted to turn to them for support and talk about the pain I was going through, but one friend pulled away. He stopped answering my calls. And later, I learned that it was because he didn't know what to say to me. He's more emotionally avoidant, and he's not a bad friend. He just didn't know how to help me with my pain because he avoids his own pain. But my other friend, he flew out to see me. Whoa. He sat with me. He talked with me. He even offered me financial help for my custody battle, even though he didn't really have much. Now, I didn't want or expect either of my friends to be able to fix my situation because I knew they couldn't. But what I wanted most was their presence. I wanted them to be able to sit with me in the middle of my heartache and listen with empathy as I process through it. Now, my son is going through a breakup, and he's experiencing grief. And so my wife, my daughter, and myself, we've all spent time talking with him about how sad he feels. But here's the thing. While we might wish we didn't have to go through grief or often see that there's, what's the point? It's actually God's design for us. We have to wrestle with all of these emotions to be able to get to a place of acceptance of a situation. Because if we could just get over it, then the loss that we're experiencing probably wasn't that important to us. Now, some people resist grief. They run back to a toxic relationship or they overlook indiscretions only to end up in the same painful place, sometimes over and over again. And while there's no exact timeline for grief, it is supposed to be temporary. It's not supposed to be permanent. So here's my call to action today. It's actually twofold. First, if someone in your life is going through loss, they probably just need presence or listening ear. You don't have to fix it. Our urge to fix comes from our own discomfort of being in touch with our own difficult emotions. But you can't connect to someone's pain if you're at the same time trying to change it. And second, if you're going through grief, acknowledge the stages in your own life and name them. When you can identify the stages, you're less likely to get stuck in them. And then reach out for help. When you have the right emotional support and comfort, while it won't take away all of your pain, you will eventually feel better and heal. So if you're stuck in one of the stages, give us a call.
Yes.
We can provide some direction for your specific situation on air, or we'll get you connected to a counselor or support group.
Yep, we can do that. And we're going to be in the studio for 2 hours today. We would love to talk to you at 1-800-229-3000. We'll get to the calls in just a moment.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I'm coming to you with an urgent need. If you've heard the callers on the show recently, you've heard the struggles that so many people are experiencing. There are many people that are in difficult relationships, difficult places in their lives. I want you to help New Life continue to offer hope for people's lives. We had some generous friends of New Life that started a matching gift, and every gift will be doubled up to $475,000. But it's urgent. The matching window closes December 31st, so don't wait. Every moment matters in recovery, healing, and restoration. Make your gift today by going to newlife.com, click on Donate, or text the word MATCH to 28950. You can also call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Together, we will bring hope and help to so many more people. And I want to say thank you in advance.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
So on top of everything that Marc Cameron said at the beginning of today's program, we've got a tip sheet that we'd like to offer free of charge to anyone who asks for it. Now, this may be the first holiday you spend without a loved one, or maybe it's been years and you're still grieving that empty place at the table. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and we'll send you 8 ways to get through the holidays after a loss. But we can also talk about that and more when you call into the studio today at 1-800-229-3000 for the next 2 hours. We're going to begin in Boston. Here is Lucy, who's watching us on YouTube. So let's wave hi to Lucy. How you doing, Lucy? Thanks for calling in today.
I'm doing well, thank you. So here's my question. I have friends who like to monopolize my time for their personal gain. So how do I set proper boundaries so I don't get frustrated?
So this is more than one friend, Lucy?
Yes.
Would you say it's all your friends, majority of your friends? And how do they monopolize your time? What do you mean by that?
Okay, well, I'll give you one example, is that I needed to, I worked, so I needed to go in one day for work, and I told this person I have to work. I cannot take a day off, and she kept on insisting, saying, oh, come on. Can't you just take one day off? I need your help. I need you to take me somewhere. She was relentless about it, and I gave in. And of course, I ended up taking that day off. But to my consequences, I had to get a project done. And, I had a deadline. I wasn't there. So, and that's what happened. So that's an example.
Lucy, would you describe yourself as a people pleaser?
Yes.
Yeah. So I find that people pleasers do exactly what you're doing. They give in. They don't have a no. They struggle to set boundaries, only to end up, hurting themselves in some way. Ends up being to their detriment. But the people pleaser, it's not a personality style that you're stuck with. It's actually a trait that you develop, and usually people develop that people pleaser, and it's actually attachment style, really. They develop that attachment style because they learn to give in childhood, or they learn to take care of someone else. Is that true for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Who did you take care of or give in to?
To my parents.
Mm-hmm. Were they overly critical? Were they angry? Were they helicopter parents?
They were overly critical.
Yeah, so you got trained then to be the good kid, do what they wanted you to do, so that you didn't get the criticism and feel that rejection and most likely shame. Yeah, and so that's a wound. I'm so sorry that you went through that. But the good news about attachment research is that we don't have to stay this way. We don't have to stay stuck. We can actually grow, but growing requires leaning into the opposite way of what we tend to do. And so that's going to be learning how to practice having boundaries, being able to say no, being able to resist pressure, because you probably have friends who are drawn to you because you're just so nice and easygoing, and you're a helper or a rescuer. And people who are people pleasers often end up in helper roles, or roles where they serve others, and so they draw other people to them. But if you get somebody who's very pushy, they can be quite coercive, and then they can pressure you, like you said that your friend just did. or the example that you gave us.
Yes.
Have you worked on being able to set boundaries, maybe even practicing that with a friend, with another safe friend, or with a therapist?
Yes and no, I have been off and on.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I would recommend you doing. I think two things. One,
Okay.
Do you have a therapist right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you talk about your childhood history?
Yes.
Yeah, and about how your pleaser attachment formed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So learning how to talk about it helps us create story to it so that we can recognize when we're feeling that anxiety in the present. But also learning to practice, because you only get good at whatever you practice. So if you practice giving in, guess what? You're really good at giving in. So now you got to start to practice holding a boundary. And I often do this with clients where I will have them describe a person who's difficult or challenging, and then I'll ask them to play the difficult, challenging person, and then I'll model for them what words they should use to hold boundaries, and then we'll flip it around. And we just keep on practicing that until they build that skill. And that might be a good idea for you. Have you tried that before?
I haven't, but I'm going to.
Okay, good.
I like that determination I hear in your voice, Lucy. You have some internal strength and such awareness that you're willing to work on yourself, even though your friends might be somewhat selfish or maybe self-centered. They take advantage of your generosity. I can relate to you, Lucy. I'm a people pleaser and a conflict avoider. I'm in recovery, so I've tried to practice the things that Marc is suggesting to you. It's like, Lucy, we have a really strong yes muscle. And we are so good at giving yeses. And our no muscle is small, atrophied. It hasn't gotten a lot of work. And so we got to take that no muscle to the gym. And the gym is the safe people that Marc is talking about. And I'm going to give you a silly example, but I found this to be so difficult early in my recovery process. Lucy, we can practice being a little bit more needy at places like a restaurant, where we go order something and we ask for some extra ice in the cup. We ask for no lettuce on that hamburger. And we can practice asking for more than we normally would in situations that have lower relational value to us. And that can feel so overwhelming to make your needs known to a stranger. I find, Lucy, that if we don't practice this, we start to get frustrated when we give those yeses. And maybe when you were driving your friend where she needed to go, you might have been hating being there and so angry at her that you were doing this favor for her.
Right.
God tells us to give free yeses, to make sure our heart is in the right position, that my yes can be cheerful. I'm not doing this out of fear. I'm not doing this out of obligation. Lucy, that shocked me when I learned about that, because I grew up in a family where yes was the right answer almost all the time if somebody wanted something from you. So to learn, God gives me permission to give no's. And then to become aware of our heart when we're getting asked, would you do this for me? And if I'm finding, I can't give a free yes to that, then instead I can give a, well, I don't know, I got to think about it. Or I'm going to have to answer that one later, I'm not sure. Or for now, it's got to be a no. And it takes a lot of practice for us people pleasers to feel like we can give that and still be nice people.
Yeah, I love what Alice is saying here. I'm going to make those suggestions about being a little bit challenging, or creating some, what you're saying is actually just creating tension, not to be a difficult person, but to learn to create some tension to deal to manage that. So I really like that. Here's my one last suggestion for you, Lucy, because your default answer is probably yes. I want you to try and change your default answer right now to let me think about that. Because what that does is it just gives you that space to be able to kind of wrestle with your anxiety and then to form a good no statement back and let the other person know that.
I like the analogy of the hamburger. I think you said lettuce, but I was thinking, pickles, for example. You can ask for extra pickles. You can say, put as many pickles in that burger as you are allowed to. And you may not even like the pickles, but when you get the burger, just pick them off or something. But just you can say, I did it. I asked for the extra pickles and I got them. So, yeah, it might help. Something else.
I like that analogy.
Yes. Something else I found interesting by, I think, Marc, you said it. We're not necessarily born people pleasers. It's something that we develop over time. So sometimes we think our character traits are there from the time we're born, but you're saying it just happens over time.
Right. It's a trait. I mean, we all have an attachment style, and that's developed from the homes that we grew up in and the responses that we got from our caregivers, and a people pleaser is one of those traits. And so, yeah, I mean, some people are more sensitive and they like to give, but when it goes over, like what Lucy's saying, it ends up in your detriment, or you rescue others and you stop them from growing.
Yeah.
That's a problem, because healthy relationships have balance.
I want to warn Lucy and our audience that when we start to say no and people have been used to our yes, it reveals the state of the relationship. And so some of these friends may not be friends if you start to give them no's. And you're not causing that. You're revealing what value they held in the relationship. So be braced and be prepared. But finding that out is in your best interest, even though it would be tough and painful if they only want to be friends when you're a yes, Lucy, not when you're a no, Lucy.
So we're going to send you a copy of How We Love just for calling in today to the New Life radio program at 1-800-229-3000. And on our website, newlife.com, you might want to pre-order Marc Cameron's book, which deals with attachment style as well. You can tell by the title, Understanding Your Attachment Style. Check it out. It's available for pre-order. It comes out next week on Tuesday, right? December 2nd. But you can pre-order it now at newlife.com. Lucy, thanks for calling us today. And now we're going to go to Ashley in Allentown, Pennsylvania, who listens to the New Life Live podcast. Thank you for calling in today, Ashley. How can we help you?
Hi there. Thank you so much. I've been a longtime supporter and listener for as long as I can remember.
Thank you,
really
Ashley. Thank
today.
you. We appreciate you.
I'm really nervous. I actually hadn't planned on doing this today, but I believe it's God's will. And so thank you for taking time to be with me.
Of course.
My question, I'll just say it, and then I'll let you ask questions. I've been married for 13 years, and they've been really difficult. And my question is, how do I get unstuck in an emotionally and verbally destructive marriage?
Has it always been like this all 13 years, or did something trigger it?
I would say yes, it has been. I guess, we dated for quite a while. But it was the kind of dating where we would see each other maybe like 3 days a week, and then there would be a lot of time apart. And if I'm honest, I mean, yeah, I blew past some red flags, and I thought he was a Christian, and I didn't do a very good job, and I didn't really have a great network that I was sharing him. I didn't have great girlfriends at the time. But even on our honeymoon, there was terribly explosive and angry, and at one point the wedding ring was taken off and thrown across the parking lot and told I want a bleeping annulment. And I should have, but here I am. I'm 13 years down the road saying maybe I should have done something different in the past, but I just keep trying, and I keep. I have my own issues. I have ADHD, and it doesn't make me a worthless person. But I'm not great with time, and I care too much about everything. And sometimes, I'm not perfect, and I tend to be the type that has to. I always feel like I have to earn my worth, and maybe that just plays right into this because I feel used. I'm still to this day shell-shocked by the things that are said or by actions that are taken, and I'm not in physical harm.
Do you guys have any kids together, Ashley?
Well, I have a stepdaughter, and she's, she would maintain a relationship with me.
Ashley, you said shell-shocked, and we can hear in your voice that you've been living in an emotional war zone. And in some ways, it still surprises you, even though this is how he's been treating you.
And I get so frustrated with myself that I don't anticipate these reactions. I don't know how I can't be prepared yet.
When you pointed out your diagnosis, ADHD, you said, it doesn't mean I'm a worthless person. But I think you have been told you're worthless in a lot of different ways, thousands of times over these years. And you want to know how to get unstuck. Will you tell us what have been your strongest efforts lately to get yourself safe?
My strongest effort lately. Well, I won't cover with lies. I have a couple of very close friends I can confide in and be totally honest with. I have people praying for me. I've tried, conversations, approaching him in different ways. I don't know if that answers your question.
It sure does. You do have a foundation there, so I praise you for that, and we'll be able to help you more in a little bit.
Yep, and we're going to have more people praying for you. Ashley, everyone watching and listening right now to this episode of New Life Live will be praying for you. Stay on the phone. We're going to continue our conversation with you. We're going to be in the studio for 2 hours today. If you've got something coming up that you want to talk about with the holidays coming up, maybe you want to talk about some issues, maybe you need strength for meeting with certain family members that you're going to see for the first time in maybe a year, let's talk about it at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for the holidays, or are you dreading the holidays? Well, we have a new webinar, and it's called Healthy Holiday Boundaries. The holiday season often brings joy, but it also can bring pressure, guilt, and emotional overwhelm. Healthy Holiday Boundaries is a 90-minute faith-based webinar. You'll learn how to protect your peace, manage expectations, and set healthy limits without guilt. Whether you're facing family tensions, an overcommitted schedule, or emotional fatigue, this webinar will help you reclaim calm and connection. This isn't just information, it's an invitation.
The Healthy Holidays Boundaries webinar is Wednesday evening, December 10th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com. Experience the freedom Christ offers and discover how to give your best yes and your healthiest no this holiday season. 1-800-639-5433. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
I'm so thankful because why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information and not paying, so my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, let's go back to Ashley in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You still with us, Ashley?
Yes, I am.
Thanks so much for calling in. There's so much that you're going through, and thank you for trusting us with this. What else were you going to ask her, Alice?
Ashley, I think the next steps will be building up your strength to decide how much space you need to keep your heart safe from your husband's mistreatment. And that space, usually when you scaffold boundaries, you start small, hoping that taking a little bit of space will change your husband's heart. But oftentimes, people need to keep adding space before there's that willingness for your husband to look at his own part. I would guess he's in a lot of denial, and he blames you for most of the problems in the relationship. Is that true?
Yes.
So it usually starts with something like, this is not working for me, for you to talk with me like you have been, in that tone of voice, using those harsh words that you do. And so I'm going to be changing some things about my behavior because I'm really hurting. And I would ask that we both get help so that we can heal what's happening in our relationship. And I would suspect, Ashley, that he won't be willing to. And so you have to be braced for his answer and then make those moves of creating some distance, which might be, I can't sleep in the same bed with you for now until you get help, until you treat me more gently. I can't even engage in conversation. I'll be polite, but I can't share my warmth with you until you start being kind to me. And in more extreme situations, it might have to move towards, I can't stay in the same home, under the same roof. I might have to consider a legal separation. We don't want it to go that far, but as you add in layers of the boundaries, it will be revealed whether or not your husband is willing to do anything differently, learn how to treat you better. How does it strike you? How do you feel hearing that from me?
Well, I think that we have both taken steps like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like we live pretty separate lives, but then they get exacerbated by points of closeness or points of agony. I guess it sounds so logical and doable when you say it like that. And then when I get in the situation,
It's like you freeze.
I was listening to your conversation about boundaries, and those are tough for me.
Well, Ashley,
we already don't share a room. We don't share much of anything.
Well, Ashley, there's a difference between a relationship drifting apart and then setting intentional boundaries with what Alice is saying. Alice is saying having a conversation to say, hey, this is what I need. And then when you don't get it, then you escalate to the next step. Now, I hear you saying that you're not in physical danger, but I think you are in emotional danger. I think you need emotional safety. And I do think that you if you're being yelled and screamed at, I do think you need to set a strong boundary. I want to affirm what Alice said, that you are not to blame for his anger. When I often say this, use this example with people. When you squeeze the tube of toothpaste, what comes out? Toothpaste. Well, but why does toothpaste come out? Because that's what's inside. So when you squeeze anything, when we get squeezed, whatever comes out of us is what's in our heart. That's what Jesus said. He said the overflow of the mouth is what's in the heart. And so you probably need to have an intentional conversation where you look at the boundaries that you're already at, and then you talk about, you discuss the next level up with intention. And you may need a therapist. You probably do need a therapist to help you plan for the next level of boundary. And if that is a separation, that's what it may be if you're going to be emotionally berated. And I think what you do too is when you set the boundary, you don't just say, well, I'm leaving, right? You create the doorway back. I want to be close to you. I want us to rebuild our relationship. I want it to be strong. I want it to be healthy. I want it to be balanced. But it's not going that way. And so this is what I'm going to do for the sake of us both, right? So it's not like, you're pushing him away. I'm doing this for both of our sakes. And then you lay down what you would like to see him do, because recovery doesn't happen by accident. It happens on purpose. He needs to create a plan. And when we don't have internal motivation, like when we're not motivated to like, oh, you know what, I see this as a problem, I need to fix it. When we don't have internal motivation, we need external motivation. And I know that this might be really scary to you, what we're saying, but the alternative is just to stay in an emotionally abusive relationship.
Ashley, I know it's easy.
Honestly, what's really scary is that I don't know if I do want to be close to him anymore.
Well, of course you don't. And when somebody mistreats you to that degree, you don't want to be close to somebody. That's your safety system that tells you, this person is not safe to be vulnerable with. And so that's where you both need to work toward healing.
I've been operating in survival mode for a long time.
Yeah, so it's time to stop doing that. It's time to set the next level of boundary.
And Ashley, it took me really months and years of practice saying, I don't like being treated that way. I'm going to walk away if you can't be kind to me. And it was so difficult for me to actually do it in real life. And so it took many conversations with my individual therapist and practicing with my group. And that's what eventually gave me the courage to do it in the face of an angry person.
We're not pro-divorce, but sometimes it takes that separation to actually bring the relationship closer together, because the other person sees what the consequence of their actions is doing.
Yeah. We're going to send you a copy of Boundaries just for calling in today to the New Life Live radio program. So stay on hold, Ashley, and we'll get your address and we'll put that in the mail to you. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us here on New Life Live. We're going to be in the studio for the rest of this hour and all of next. So call in, grab an open line. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. We've got Dr. Alice Benton and Marc Cameron here to answer your questions. Thanks so much for listening today and for watching as well.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
When you give to New Life, you're helping people like Ashley and Lucy to receive godly counsel, spiritual insight, and resources during their darkest seasons. Perhaps you've been in one of these dark seasons lately, and something you heard on New Life Live or an article or video on newlife.com helped you out. Someone else's generosity is what helped you. And now your generosity can transform someone else's life. And through the end of the year, your gift goes twice as far due to a $475,000 matching gift. You can give online at newlife.com/match or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text the word match to 28950. Want to make a difference in the world? It starts with helping one person, which in turn heals a family, and then an entire generation. Thank you so much for whatever you can do. May God bless you as you bless others. 1-800-229-3000 is the number today, and now we're going to talk to George in Boise, Idaho, listening on KSPD. Hi, George. Thanks for calling in today, and you also are a Club New Life member. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How can we help you today, George?
Well, we have Thanksgiving coming up, and I think you see the question in front of you that the screener posed.
Yes.
Kind of hard to encapsulate this into a question. But my daughter and my wife have had a recent falling out on FaceTime. My daughter's borderline, and I'm convinced she doesn't even realize she offended anybody, but she deeply offended my wife. And we are having Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, and it's never been a great, joyous occasion because my wife has done it for years and years, and she pretty much does it just kind of to make her mom happy. And at this point, we are kind of wondering if the thing to do is to address this before Thanksgiving with my daughter, or to just kind of play nice for Thanksgiving because she's excited to come, and like I said, she doesn't even realize anything happened. And my wife was saying to her mom, so, I'm just going to kind of play nice, get through it, and then we're going to, deal with it after that. Well, so what my daughter will do, so the question, I guess, if you want to just encapsulate it in the question, is we have Thanksgiving coming Thursday. Is it best to address this situation prior to Thanksgiving, or just let Thanksgiving go and deal with it between Thanksgiving and Christmas? So it gets dealt with, but just not at a very volatile time.
Yeah.
George, when these hurts have come up in the past, how has your wife addressed them with your daughter?
I mean, it's really hard with my daughter because everything's black and white. You know, if you come against her, she will tend to just blast you and kind of write you off. And so my wife has kind of responded with, I mean, like, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not going to deal with that. And then they separate for months on end. You know, sometimes even more than a year. And it's a tricky situation because my wife and I don't, at this point in time, we don't have a great relationship. We've been very, very, I don't know, divided.
Is it because of the relationship with your daughter?
That really is a big part of it now. As of yesterday, my daughter sent me a text in the morning. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, but, you know, my father passed away in 2002, and on November 20th, which is his day of passing, my daughter reached out and said, hey, you want to go to the site? And I said, too busy to do it. And she said, what's one of his favorite foods? And I told her, so she sent me a picture that she made of his favorite food, and she said, I think this is a great way to remember people. And I said, I think that's amazing, and it touched me, and you know, we have this conflict between my wife and my daughter, and what happened was with my daughter, if I can give you a little bit of history here just so any of this makes any sense, when my daughter was a teenager, she was very out of control. As a matter of fact, we had police over to the house fairly regularly. There was drugs involved, there was bad people involved, and at one point the officer said, you know, you guys can file for a juvenile beyond control, and maybe the best thing for you guys is to have her go spend, you know, the holidays in juvenile detention. And that didn't really sit well with me or my wife. My wife is more solid than I am. And, you know, we made the decision, okay, that's what's going to happen. Well, just the other day, we were FaceTiming with my 14-year-old granddaughter and my daughter, and everything was fine. Everything was like, everybody was laughing, and then Tiana, my daughter, was kind of going into this thing about how she can make my granddaughter Jaden's life miserable as a mom, right, if she doesn't stay in line. And she goes, well, I could always pull a Grandma Dina and hit you and send you to juvie and say it was your fault. And what happened in that situation is she was standing at the top of the stairs looking down at my wife, and she said, I'm going to break every effing thing in this house. And she came toward my wife, and so my wife slapped her.
So George, there is such you're right, there's such a complex history here, and I think it's a gray area what to do about Thanksgiving. Your wife has already made her decision. Play nice, address it after the fact. Is that right? And you disagree with that, and you might want to address it beforehand?
No, what happened is my wife did make that decision. She passed that along to her mom. And like I said, you know, Thanksgiving is really about her mom. It makes her mom feel very good if the family's together. And, you know, it's just that generation, right? It doesn't, we just bury our head in the sand and pretend everything's okay, have a couple drinks, eat, and then and say goodbye. I am of the mindset that I want to discuss it, but in a way that I know my daughter will receive it, because she can shut down very, very quickly. And if she doesn't even realize there's an offense, and I can kind of tell with how she's communicating to me that she really can't tell, because if she's been offended before, there's no communication. And she'll send you a long text saying, you know, you guys are toxic, and my counselor has, you know, recommended that I don't spend any time with you guys, and blah, blah, blah.
So, Georgia, I'm going to interrupt. It doesn't sound like there is a perfect way to deliver difficult news to your daughter, that she is 99% likely to reject it and to separate from you. So I think that as you decide when to bring this to her attention, I think it's good and loving to bring the offense to her attention. But when you do so, I think you have to be ready that you can't do it perfectly enough to not upset her. That her style is to get upset and to withdraw from you. But I think you could have another conversation first, which is, we hear that it still sticks with you that you were sent to juvenile hall over the holidays. And there's still pain. It came up in that conversation the other day. And I want to be a listener to you of how that affected you, that we made that decision. And I'd be a listener without explanation or justification on your part, George, to offer that olive branch, offer that healing, and to show her how to be a healthy listener. And she doesn't have that skill. I don't think biblically there's a mandate of how quickly you all bring to her attention the offense, but I know that playing nice, it doesn't work very well over time. It tends to self-destruct over time, and that bitterness and resentment leak out in other ways. So you don't have to tell her before Thanksgiving, but I would say offer that other conversation. How did that historical holiday affect you? I want to be a listener to you, to build up to having a further conversation later about how she offended your wife. But I'd suggest doing it with a family therapist because it's so multi-layered for your family.
Mark?
Yeah, I think, George, you have to just kind of accept what level of relationship you might be able to have with your daughter. BPD is just, it's so pervasive. It's really the way the whole person views the world. It's so skewed. They feel their emotions so strongly. And as Alice was saying, they expect perfect outcomes from other people, and you can't do it in a perfect way. And so, I mean, you're going to own all the consequences in this, right? Whether you say, well, we're not going to have you come, because that may cause another year of disconnection here. And so I think the better way is what Alice is saying is trying to, maybe you have some good connection with her, and then you invite her to go on a walk, and then you do what Alice is saying, and then after you model for her how to listen, you then make that request. Hey, when you said this, that was actually, I think that was really hurtful for Mom. I don't know if you knew that or not. But you're going to have to decide, how much progress can we have with her? What are we willing to put up with? But also, what are we willing to accept? In terms of, how much progress she can make.
And because you may lose access with your granddaughter, then you have to pick which battles are worth fighting, because love covers a multitude of faults, meaning we are to overlook some things and not bring attention to everything. So you've got a lot of juggling and balancing to do there, and it's a matter of picking your pain.
George, we're going to send you a registration for the Healthy Holiday Boundaries webinar that's coming up on December 10th. You can find out all about it at newlife.com. At this webinar, you'll learn how to protect your peace, manage expectations, and set healthy limits without guilt. Whether you're facing family tensions, overcommitted schedules, or emotional fatigue, this webinar will help you reclaim calm and connection. You'll experience the freedom Christ offers and discover how to give your best yes and your healthiest no. So everyone watching and listening, you can sign up for this. Again, it's on Wednesday, December 10th at 7 p.m. Central Time. Get all the details at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. More of your phone calls coming up here on New Life Live. We're in the studio for 2 hours today, so call in 1-800-229-3000.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Washington, D.C., December 5th through the 7th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
It's never too late to change the end of your story or too early. If you're battling an addiction, things can change for you. We have New Life recovery groups and resources to help you in this process. New Life Christian recovery groups offer a safe place to shed the shame and get raw accountability rooted in biblical truth and the shared commitment to eradicate unhealthy behaviors once and for all. Visit newlife.com for information on connecting to a community that won't let you settle. Don't wait until the new year to get started. Imagine starting now and getting a jump start on 2026. Visit newlife.com to learn more about joining a group. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and let's talk now to Sally, listening on Sirius XM channel 131 in Washington, D.C. Hi, Sally. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, I called in today to kind of get some assistance. My friend recently lost her husband, who was also a good friend of my husband, and she's a dear friend. Tomorrow, in fact, is the funeral, and I am struggling with my own grief and just trying to find the best way to support her in her grief. I lost my mother in January 23 and my husband in January 24, and we were a close couple. So, when his health was quickly deteriorating, she wanted me to be there at the hospital with her, which brought back a lot that I was reliving with my husband's health. And then I couldn't, I'm sorry, so for the most part I was there for her, but it did get to a point where I just said I could not spend hours at the hospital with her. Anyway, now she's lost her husband, and I'm really trying to find a way to support her.
Yeah.
While I deal with my own grief, I guess.
This is like the third loss in 3 years that you've gone through. This is
well, yeah, and one other as well. But,
wow.
Yeah, it's, and I know that some of it is as we age. We know more people. I mean,
yes.
We go to more funerals than weddings, is what I say.
Mm-hmm.
So I
we hear it in your voice.
By now I should be past this, but I know I'm not past it. So,
Mark, you were talking about this at the beginning of the program.
Yeah, I think you're being hard on yourself here, Sally, because you're shitting yourself here. Like, I should be past this. And, as I said in my open here, there's no real timeline for grief. And you've had a lot of loss, so, you've had grief compounded here, right? When you're in grief and then further losses happen, it can really reset the timeline for you. And I think that's what's happened for you. And so, yeah, I think you're feeling guilty too. because you couldn't be in the hospital with her at her time of pain because it was triggering all of those old memories for you, and it got overwhelming. And so, I mean, I think the good thing here is that you know her pain, and so you can connect with her in that. And, you know, as I said in my opening, it's, you know, you don't have to rescue someone. You don't have to fix it for someone. It's really just providing presence, being there, empathy, and comfort. And maybe you guys can comfort one another too. And you might even say that to her. You might even say, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and I just want you to know that I'm still in grief too. And so this is bringing back all the grief for me also. And so I know exactly, or I think I know how you're feeling, and maybe we can just hug one another and allow each other to cry. What do you think about that?
You know, that just makes sense. It does. And I have, you know, we are both very active in an organization together. So I guess that's, I mean, it's very helpful to say that. But by the same token, I feel like while we can lean on each other, some of what she's experiencing is, I'm so sorry, is me reliving. So where I think I may have made some progression, I feel like now I'm reliving. And honestly, I have an issue from a teenager from separation anxiety, so I know that plays into this. But I guess what I'm saying is, I feel like there's limits to how much I can be there for her.
And ways that she has wanted you there are really dysregulating for you to the point that you can't be good comfort and support at times. And so I hope that you'll model for her how to rest and how to talk about your limited capacity, because she'll need that too. So it's okay to let your friend know, I realize I'm kind of exhausting myself right now, and all my losses are coming back up. And so I'm going to be less available. I can do 10, 15-minute conversations, but I can't do face-to-face right now, just because of all that stirring up inside of me. So I'm just giving you an example, Sally, of you figuring out what can you do to be there for her. And it might be a lot smaller than what you have been doing, but where can you genuinely show up, and how much do you need to protect your limited resources and your hurting heart, because some of this is re-traumatizing for you. And so it's not fully safe to be that available to her anymore. But it's a loving friend to gently, kindly explain this to her, and how much you'll show back up again when you can.
Yeah, I'm really hearing like a panic in your voice, Sally, like I'm hearing an internal struggle where you want to be there for your friend, but you're also realizing your capacity limits. And so I want you to think about, you know, as Alice is saying, learning how to model rest. I want you to also learn how to model recovery and healing. And so I think it would be really good for you, if you haven't already, to get into a grief share group and get with a therapist if you don't have a therapist. Do you have any of those supports in your life?
I have been through the grief share, which I didn't get a lot out of it. But I guess to further complicate, one of the other things you talked about this morning was being a yes person, which I have always tried to sell as my gift is service to others. So I guess that further complicates it, and it makes sense to be able to say that. But I feel like, you know, sometimes she'll say, I know you already have so much on your plate. Will you blah, blah, blah? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and so it's probably twofold here, Sally. It's working on your grief, and I encourage you, try another grief share group, because groups can be different and you might get more out of the next one. But also work on that people pleaser part of you too, because that's the anxiety, that fear of abandonment, the fear of letting someone down. That drives the continual pleasing, and right now you're bumping up against those limits, and so that's where you're stuck.
You can also try a life recovery group, and we can put you in contact with one in the area near you. We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief and also the tip sheet that we mentioned at the beginning of today's program called 8 Ways to Get Through the Holidays After a Loss. And tomorrow is the funeral that Sally will be attending. So everyone listening and watching, just pray for Sally and her friend that they will have strength for tomorrow and for the days ahead and for the holidays coming up too. All right, we're going to be in the studio for another hour, so call in 1-800-229-3000. We want to hear from you.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.